to another episode of the Randint Podcast with Raffy and Chandra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the chair working?
The chair is indeed working. It's a long chair.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And Chandra, this time you have suggested a mini-sode. What are we talking about?
Well, since we have been talking about how the random affects the everyday, I thought it might be interesting to talk about how the random has also affected the past and some events that have led to big changes in both the medical sphere, the non-medical sphere, and then also serendipitous events that didn't really actually work out that well either.
Yep, fair enough. Fair enough.
Which does
All right,
happen
do you want to
too.
start off?
Yeah,
What's a
sure.
good example?
Well, so I was thinking about this, and there's always the famous ones like when penicillin was discovered and how that was a big change and everything. But there's also some more slightly esoteric ones which I found were equally interesting and have made as big of an impact. And the first one is this guy called Edward Jenner. Like a long time ago, back in smallpox times, he actually made the first vaccine. And the random event that led to that was the fact that he noticed that milkmaids got a smallpox-like disease, but they didn't seem to catch a lot of smallpox. So it turns out that there's this thing called cowpox, and it's caused by blisters on cow udders. And so essentially he came across the whole concept of exposure therapy, giving a milder version of the virus to induce an immune response. And it turns out it's called the vaccinia virus. Something to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait.
So I was like,
wait.
huh.
That deserves a.
Exactly. Turns out vax something to do with cow udders or something. So if you're anti-vax, you're anti-cow udders, I believe. That's a problem.
Well, I mean, I know there's one vegan listener going, yes, cow udder is terrible.
Oh yeah, wait. I know, milk. Yeah, still terrible.
Fair enough. Oh, well, I've got a random
But there were
one
some
which
wins
I
on that
didn't
front and some negatives on that front. Like, yes, they've made the first vaccine and eradicated a disease, which it's kind of cool. But it also was an interesting time, and apparently, public health disease number one. So his test was he gave it to some 8-year-old kid, and then he exposed him to smallpox to see what happened. Turned out it worked.
Well, there you go. Good on the 8-year-old immunity.
Yes. I think mental ethics was slightly less of a thing back then. But nonetheless, a random event.
That's wow. Wait. We definitely need a. That's one good random event.
That one came up because I had my recent COVID booster because I don't know why, but I'm on a roll. So I was like, well, don't break what's broken, not broken. And I was like, well, there we go, vaccine-related ones, because everybody loves a vaccine, right?
No, fair enough. I didn't actually have any medical ones that I looked up, but I can tell you, I was just thinking about it whilst you're saying this, the invention of modern anesthesia, right? One of the things that we use as muscle relaxants so that people are actually paralyzed during surgery. Otherwise, reflexes are still active even if you're asleep. Like if you're asleep and someone, I don't know, stabs you with a needle, you're going to wake up and try to punch them. So, of course, you can dampen all that down, but you still have involuntary reflexes during surgery. And if you're doing certain fine motor things, they can still activate because they're spinal cord based. They're not brain based. So brain is asleep, spinal cord's still doing its thing.
Right.
So you sometimes need muscle paralysis, right? Like, especially for new robotic surgery now, you definitely need that. So the
You mean it's bad when the patient moves to the operation, right?
No, so in most cases, you can kind of deepen them and do all sorts of stuff. The specific problem with robotics is that every other time that we've operated, when a surgeon's operating, they're kind of like hands are on the patient, or even if you're doing keyhole surgery, the keyholes are on the patient and they're moving with the stuff. The robot is fixed to the floor. So if the patient moves, the instruments don't. So if they're sharp, pointy things and the liver just happens to get in the way, the liver gets damaged. So moving is really bad. So we usually run an infusion, and there's a few other things like neurosurgery. We do the same
Yeah,
stuff.
that explains
But
it.
anyway,
Because I was like, hey,
yeah.
we work under magnified views as well, but we have our head on the patient. So as the patient rolls around, so do we.
Yeah, exactly. So robotics specifically and neurosurgery specifically are like the two ones where you run an infusion. But the way that muscle relaxant came about was, I don't have the historical reference. I can't tell you names and whatnot, but it was like ye old English explorers saw like the American Indians with their poison darts, and the poison darts they used to classify it based on hops. So the really potent stuff would be a one hop, aka you hit a bird, it can do one hop, then it falls out of this tree. Whereas the weaker stuff was three hops, right? And so they had these different classification of compounds, and they realized what it was doing was paralyzing the bird. Like the bird wasn't dead, like heart and lungs were working, but the bird couldn't move. And Chibicurari, it was curare, right? And then chibicurarium was the first muscle relaxant, I believe. And then it got refined, and now we've got all these other different compounds. But it was from that. It was the originally, if you ever see Indiana Jones,
basically,
poison
an
darts.
anesthetist went on an ayahuasca kind of like trip and discovered some extra drugs to take home with them. Gotcha.
Well, yeah. Let's just say, look, Indiana Jones. If you thought, where does modern anesthesia come from? Some version of it. I don't know the exact story, so I haven't looked it up as much as you've researched. Because spontaneity is your calling card.
Of course.
So for context, listeners, we spent the last hour, Chandra getting sidetracked, where he has like this entire script of different things. Mine has 3 dot points, like literally dot points, and he's got like 3 full paragraphs for each.
I like to have dot points. Thank you very much.
But I wanted to say one other one, which is a non-medical one. I'll keep one of those off, which is did you know that soft serve was an accidental discovery?
No. Like McDonald's soft serve?
Yeah. So what happened was somewhere in America, hang on, I've got the link here so I can tell you. This guy actually had an ice cream truck. It was Charles Taylor of Buffalo, New York, it was Tom Carvel, but then Charles Taylor actually patented this. He operated a ice cream van, and they just had normal ice cream, like the stuff you get at the freezer section of your supermarket. And on the way to the Memorial Day, holiday, wherever he was going to go, he got a flat tire, and his van couldn't move, and the ice cream started to melt, right? And then he realized that, like, he just set up shop because he just couldn't do anything. So over the next 24 for 48 hours, he sold out of all the stock, and he realized that people actually prefer soft serve, not the firm ice cream. So he then went on to develop this low temperature ice cream that was soft and silky, and that got patented, and that's how soft serve started. Because before that, everyone assumed they just wanted really cold, hard ice cream, and that's what the original was. So that's the accidental discovery of how soft serve came to be.
I do like how you can patent the consistency of ice cream.
Oh, you want another random fact on this?
Sure.
Okay, this isn't to do with soft serve, but it has to do with McDonald's. So when McDonald's first launched, right? Oh, there's so many I could go on now because there's 3 more facts I just remembered. So McDonald's first launched, and obviously the French fries were one of the most popular items, right? And they opened a new branch, and the branch manager noticed that the McDonald's French fries didn't taste the same. And they were like, but we're doing exactly the same stuff. And along the way, they decided to do this thing where they suspended all facts. So they're like, yep, we assume everything is what you say, but let's just keep doing what we're doing, but let's just go through every single step of what's done to your potatoes, right? And what they found was the branch that they had just opened, the original branch used to take the potatoes after they were plucked and put them in a sack and leave them in this cold drying room. So they had a specific step which cured the potatoes in a way that changed the flavor that no one had knew that made any difference. So they patented the curing of the potato that gives McDonald's French fries that classic taste.
So what I'm hearing, this is another potato-related fact. So
Yes.
this can join my new sub-segment about potato facts. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Now, did you have another fact?
Well, yes, actually. So, did you know, in terms of poor animals that are being experimented on, a little bit like your poor bears that got shot by darts, guinea pigs are literally they're known as guinea pigs for a reason.
Well,
You know, I'm not sure if that's just like unfortunate naming or,
I mean, why the guinea pigs? Like, why not like I don't know, Chinese pigs or
because they're
Australian
test
pigs?
animals. They're guinea pigs. Like, that's why.
Well, like I mean, is it the Papua New Guinea ones or is it just Guinea? Like,
Maybe this also was a random event. They were just walking around. They happened to go into Guinea. Bam, tested. And
oh,
now
okay, we
officially
gotta.
they're known as guinea pigs.
All right, if we do a random event Mark II, we gotta look that one up.
Yeah, true. Let's find out why are guinea pigs guinea pigs.
All right, what was your fact on it?
Well, yeah, so this one is an Australian discovery. So,
Oh,
close to
wait!
home. Woohoo.
Yay!
Uh,
I need
it's a
a didgeridoo sound
psychiatry-related one,
effect somewhere.
so, they had some wins,
Yay
some
for your
losses.
familial
So,
like
yeah,
business practice. Like I don't know.
indeed. But yeah, psychiatrists have some wins, some losses. But lithium and for the treatment of bipolar disease.
Yeah.
Apparently, this guy first he came back and he was researching all about, he's like, I got lots of patients with bipolar and manic and have to treat this, and there must be something in the blood or the urine that's making them manic. And his assumption was, okay, well, it must be in the urine. So there's this thing called uric acid in urine. So he's like, that's got to be it. So as you do, as with any good scientist, you take manic patient urine, and because you expect that it's going to have something different. And then, of course, you're inject into poor guinea pigs. Because they're guinea pigs.
It's like, I wonder what this urine in the bloodstream.
Because guinea pigs
Oh,
are
man.
always the first point of call. But the
Like,
problem is,
like, can I just say, it's like, so someone goes, okay. So, this stuff is coming out of the kidneys. Let's just intramuscularly or intravenously inject this shit. Let's see what it does. Like,
well, it's okay. They're guinea pigs. That's what they're made for, primarily. I understand.
but like, okay, like, let's just say it worked, right? It's like,
Well, you
okay,
can't really just do a P-tape on guinea pigs and just spray them with urine. I don't think that works.
but
You
anyway,
have to be
what
more
happened?
medical about these things. So, of course, he injected them, but it turns out, uric acid is a crystal, so he needed something to make it more dissolvable. So he used lithium carbonate to dissolve the uric acid. And he was expecting his guinea pigs to go nuts and become manic, but turns out the guinea pigs really chilled out quite a bit, which is not what he was expecting.
Well, I mean, all you need, I mean, let's put it to you this way. Be very glad that he went, it must have been the lithium, not manic urine.
This is true. I'm sure that further experiments were conducted on the poor guinea pigs.
Well, thankfully, hopefully it stops there, not in patients like, wait, I can cure your manicness. You just need your own urine injected.
Well, this one actually has a slightly happier story. 'Cause this dude, he actually decided to follow research processes, and when he was experimenting with not not guinea pig urine, he actually gave small doses and did proper research trials and built it up, and then it became a treatment.
Yeah.
So,
I love his
moral of the story:
hypothesis.
don't be a guinea pig, because that's just a poor
I
life
love
choice.
you call this a proper. It's like hypothesis. Must inject urine. Urine will solve problem. Yes. What is the mechanism of action? Urine is known to chill people out because
No. It was supposed to make the guinea pigs also a little bit manic because these are manic patients.
Yeah, cool. So his null hypothesis was clearly correct. Anyway,
he just happened to mix it in the wrong stuff.
What do you know?
So the moral of the story on that one is, I'm not sure.
All right. I've got a fact that's you had a list where it was like mixture of bad ones. This is not really a bad one, but it kind of goes down your psych path a little bit. So this is from an article that I've linked down below called "Most Dangerous Man in History Who Accidentally Killed Millions of People," and it's truly, truly accidental, right? So right at the beginning of car engines, right?
Hmm.
The way they were designed, basically, um, the piston cylinders, when it combusted, it would make a knocking sound just because it was irregular combustion in the chamber. And there was this, where's the name of the guy? Oh, I've got the soft serve one up. Hang on. So this guy who's like from a family of famed um, inventors and whatnot, yeah, Thomas Midgley Jr. So he comes from a family of inventors, and he was like, and he's a chemist. And he's like, I can solve this problem. And so what he decided to do was find a chemical that helps combustion be a lot more smoother. And that chemical happens to be, lead.
Guinea
And
pig
if you're
urine.
wondering,
No. Okay.
so you know how all fuel is unleaded now.
Hmm.
So this is this is the guy who introduced lead, right? But lead around this time was starting to
What
get a bit
could
of a
go wrong
bad
with
rap.
red? It seems
Like
to
I mean,
work.
they were just starting to like,
It makes the piston engine work better. What could possibly go wrong?
yeah. So the thing was, they were like, look, it's starting to get a bit of a bad rap, and we don't want it to be, known as that. Who knows which way it's going to go? So we're going to call it ethyl. So there's a literal ad. If you look at the link, it just says Ethyl Gasoline Corporation, the brand of anti-knock compound. That's it. It does not say anywhere that this is lead, right?
Hmm.
And if you further read this graph, right? So what was happening is people were starting to get lead poisoning from the fumes and from like just inadvertent exposure. And in the U.S., there is this graph showing lead levels over time and the rate of violent crime because people were actually going crazy from lead exposure
Hmm.
and becoming
Okay.
psychotic.
All right.
So yeah, there you go. So what started off with
But it
just to make
wasn't
a
lead. It
car.
was ethyl, wasn't it?
Well, he called the substance ethyl, but it was lead. It was like
No,
pepper
it was
lead or something
ethyl.
like that.
That was the
Yeah,
brand.
yeah, yeah,
It's fine.
yeah,
And there's no lead.
yeah. So there you
I still
go. That
remember
was
my first car was from 1980, and so it ran
oh
on
god.
leaded petrol. And yeah, so I'm pretty sure still had access to leaded petrol back then, and then eventually had to get the lead substitute replacement thing to pour into the tank. I thought that was
Yep.
quite annoying, but maybe that wasn't a bad thing.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's the random thing which was cars knocking around that led to violent crime and psychosis.
There you go.
Oh, so did you have another medical one? Mine was accidentally medical, I realized.
Yeah, sure. I've got one last medical one, which is a good thing. Well, actually, since we're on the psych one, why don't we stick with the bad
Okay.
good one? Let's go with good. Good is good. Too many bad ones is also
No, we
bad.
can end with a good. End with a good.
End with the good. Well, so in psych, the other thing that people thought was a good idea was the old lobotomy practice, which
Oh
was
yeah.
actually done quite a while. Um, and part of the sort of psych treatment process, it was very scientifically well thought of at the time. Um, and basically, people were like, okay, no, it really does work, etc. And I think it was by 1950s. There's about 50,000 of them done in the US alone. Uh, but yes, this turns out to be one of those other things which didn't work out so well.
But what made them actually go lobotomy? Like, as in, you said it was pseudoscientifically thought to be good, but was there any reasoning behind it?
Unfortunately, not. So most of the people who started were pretty much just tinkerers in their own right, just not very ethical tinkerers.
Did they not know about guinea pigs?
Therein lies the problem. So yeah, that was, people thought something was a great idea at the time, but that's one of those ones that really didn't work out very well at all.
On that, so random little fact here. Did you know there is a syndrome where people are born? So lobotomy, you're trying to separate one hemisphere from the other, right? Like it's just a little thing. So there
Just
is
removing a
a
whole chunk.
yeah, right. Yeah, well, I suppose you're removing the chunk, but there is a condition where you're congenitally got no corpus callosum, so the actual synapses linking the left and the right of the brain together, and it's called Aicardi syndrome, AICRDI, and I remember this patient that I saw as a medical student, and you remember these obscure syndromes as a result. I remember this, and over the years, I saw them come back over and over again. So got to see, like, you can see that there is a definite difference in behavior and everything else. But one of the bad things they suffer from is a lot of seizures. But yeah, so that's, I think, one of the side effects of lobotomies as well, is that you can get seizure activity and whatnot. But yeah, random side fact on lobotomies.
There is a whole, well,
Alrighty.
that sounds like a whole other episode of random neurological conditions.
Well, I was gonna do like macabre medical stories at some point. Like, I'm sure we've all got stories, right? Like, we've been doing this for
True.
a while, so I thought maybe the more PG rated ones instead of the extreme side of things that the dark humor is not really appreciated by the masses, I don't think. But this one, I'm
Seems
gonna
like
go
a
with
fair,
another random
fair
fact.
life choice.
This one is more of a missed opportunity than whatnot. So you know how the Industrial Revolution kicked off in London, and factories came about, and industrialization happened, and like basically it was the start of the modern world, right? So where is it? It was meant to be. Oh man, I had the link just here. But anyway, it was like the English guys invented it, and the steam train and all that stuff. But literally hundreds of years earlier, there were these prototypes, even from like ancient Egypt, I think, right? Where there were these steam-powered devices that were just one section off from becoming like a full-fledged engine. And the closest they got to prior to the invention of the steam engine was this invention in China, which was called the steam ball, I think. So basically, imagine a sphere, right, hooked up by two, like just like a wheel, with these two spouts on either side pointing the other way, and there's water inside, and it's over a flame, and it just spins. And you're like, you're almost there, people. Like, you're almost there. You're just like this fraction off, right? So that, like, all the previous ones are more gimmicky than that. But this was like the first time, like, I think in recorded times, where it was almost the precursor engine. So if it had happened, we would have had the Industrial Revolution in China or Asia, I think like 300 years prior to the actual Industrial Revolution. And if that had happened, just imagine where we would be now. Global warming would be well and truly done. Everywhere would be Hawaii. Yes. So,
well, that's one of the other accidental discovery ones that I didn't add on, where China actually had the lead on it, was fecal transplants. Turns out 4th century China is one of the first descriptions of fecal transplants. For people who don't know what that is, probably remain best not to know what that is.
don't look this up on a work computer.
Yeah, don't Google it.
This is actually recognized medical therapy, by the way. This is not
it's done. It's quite effective. There's lots of literature around it.
Yep. But, don't look this up.
We won't include a link below.
Yeah. All right. Did you want to end on a positive note? Because I think that's enough random facts for one episode.
Well, there's one more nice one.
Yeah,
do you know why the X-ray is called the X-ray?
Actually, no, I don't.
Because the guy who made it, he wasn't sure what the rays were, so he just called them X-rays.
Are you serious?
Yep. And no one got around to changing the name. So it turned out Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen, I may have butchered that, I probably did, but he was experimenting with different cathode ray tubes, and he had blacked one of them out, and he was just mucking around doing stuff as you do. And he noticed that one of the fluorescent screens that he had in his lab started glowing, despite being shielded and being blacked out. I was like, well, this is interesting. So he'd worked out, okay, well, there must be some sort of unknown X-ray that is going through various objects. So he made his first image of his wife's hand. It's like, I'm going to expose you to this. It's probably safe. And he won himself a Nobel Prize in 1901.
Yeah, later on, people then decided that, X-rated materials were a different kind of X, and they did not win a Nobel Prize for anything.
I do like how, though, essentially somebody who was like, whatever, I don't have time for naming this, we'll just call it X. Right, that'll do for now. And then just the name stuck. It's like, I bet he was in his head, he was probably like, oh, somebody else come up with their name later, that'll do.
No, and that's X-rays. Well, this is 25 minutes. I'm going to stick to time on this one. So this will be one episode of the Randint Podcast. As always, like and subscribe. We are actually growing the podcast this year. We have got new team members on board who are going to make sure that things run a little bit more smoothly than us half-assedly doing this when we remember. So do like and subscribe. And I have been noticing that on our Riverside and our Spotify accounts that the number of regular subscribers is going up. So welcome to everyone. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Potato.